Hey guys, it's Whiskey River again, and I've got a Path of Titans video about the Pycno. This is my second video on the Pycno, and on this one I've got a compilation of some Pycno boops. The knockback on the Pycno is one of my favorite abilities that it has. You can position yourself up on a cliff like this. Had some Ceratos hunting me, and one of them was brave enough to come up here on the cliff, and so I use my little Pycno boop ability. I use the horn swipe one. There's a headbutt and a horn swipe. I like to use the horn swipe one. If you use that voice call that it has, it even like amplifies it, but you don't really need it a lot of the time. Like on this guy, I didn't need it. I could just pop him right off of there like that. I like to hang around cliffs and walls and areas where there's a lot of high drops because you can use them to your advantage, especially if you're fighting fast stuff that's faster than you, or small, packs of things, stuff with bleed, things like that that you don't really want to be in an open field with, and it can be hard to hit because they can outturn you. Get up into some cliffs like this, and you can, just bash them off the cliff. The knockback on the Pycno is way too strong right now, in my opinion. It knocks stuff back like crazy. I think they either need to. So he thought he was safe right there, but I know that's not going to take a lot of damage jumping down there, so I can just bash him off of there like that. But if they leave the knockback the way that it is, then they need to reduce the damage on the charge. But if they keep the damage on the charge the way that it is, then they need to change the knockback. Either they need to do something with one of those two things. It definitely shouldn't be able to do both. And it definitely shouldn't be able to headbutt like that right after you do a charge, because it just totally eliminates the ability of that other dinosaur to do much damage to you, because you get a ton of damage on him or it, and then it can't return the favor, so to speak. So right there would have been a great opportunity for Whiskey to knock him off of that. But he thought the charge, this is I think his first time maybe fighting on this thing since the update, and so he thought it was going to actually knock him off, because a lot of the dinosaurs that charge does do a knockback, but on the Pycno it's the headbutt or the horn swipe that you want to do. This Hats was, I don't know what he was trying to do. He was just trolling. He was following us around for a while, and he swooped down and ran into me at some point and asked me why I attacked him. And then he saw us fighting this Giga, and he decided to come down and get that little cheap shot in. And then he just flies off. I mean, either hunt or don't hunt, you know what I mean? I think he was just trying to be a goofball. But there's another boot, bam, right off the cliff. That was perfect. So he figured it out after the first one didn't work. The charge didn't work. He went ahead and headbutted him off of that. But that was the worst place that Giga could have went. So the goal here was to get them to, as many of them as possible, to fall off that cliff like that. So we have one down, and it's going to take him a while to get back. That one there thought he was safe, and he is kind of in some of the spots, but I can also bite him depending on where he is. But it wasn't the worst spot for him to go. But little packs of stuff like this can be annoying. But like I said in my other video, if you haven't seen it, I posted another video on the Pycno. But the small packs of stuff like this, they can be annoying, but they're so squishy. If you get a charge on one of them, it's game over. So you just have to be patient, and then you can also position yourself on cliffs like this and use your knockbacks. Eventually, one of them's going to make a mistake, and they'll either die or get knocked off. And if they could take fall damage, like if that wasn't water down there, then they would certainly die. So the build we're using here is the Juggernaut build. So we do very high amounts of damage at high speed, and lower damage at low speed. But when you're stuck stationary like this, it's usually against packs of low or mid-tier stuff, so you don't really need that extra damage anyway, and you can use your boob, your horn swipe ability to knock it back. And then the other thing is we technically could have probably just run away from these guys, and we would have run them all out of stamina, but we kind of wanted to fight them, so that's what we did. The charge can be easy to dodge, but you just need one or two lucky ones to hit, and it'll kill most of these low tier stuff. And like I said, the Pycno is probably the most survivable character in the game, aside from an Anno. The stuff that you can't kill, you can run away from or outstam. It's a great solo character if you need to play something by yourself right now, with the Rex in the state that it's in right now, where the bone break isn't as good as it used to be. This is one of my go-tos for a solo playable. They are good in water. Pycnos are kind of like a motorboat swimming across the water, so if you're fighting stuff like this that's not good in the water, it is not a bad idea to utilize it. These guys are funny. They're doing their little tail fan thing. I really like the Utah model. It's a lot of fun to play, and it's funny to mannerisms, and it's cool to fight against and stuff like that. But these guys are getting way too overconfident. That's typically what defeats the low tier packs, is you get people that just get way too overconfident, and they think that they've got us on the ropes here, and really we're just playing it safe. I'm a little lower than I would like to be, but these guys, I've probably still got more health than any of these guys, so it's not that big of a deal really. And you can see Little Whiskey's health is still very healthy. Really can't think of the last time something killed me on my Pycno. I've been either running away from or killing most of the stuff that either attacks me or that I attack. I think the last couple of times I died was because I fell off a cliff or charged off a cliff by mistake. And that's it. That was his mistake. That's all it takes. Eventually they'll make a mistake and you capitalize on it and win. Even though this is doing 25% less damage, it's still, on those low tier things, it still does really good amount of damage because you have such a greater combat weight than them. Fight against this Packy Rhino here was actually the first fight that I had after the Pycno update a few weeks back. And I was fighting with my friend Nikki, and we were kind of experimenting with some different builds here. But this fight, I think, is a good illustration of teamwork. We both used our knockback to get each other out of danger, and also to knock him into bad positions for himself so that we could get some charges off on him and avoid some of his attacks. So So even though that charge is kind of easy to dodge for a lot of dinosaurs, when you've got two Pycnos charging at you, enough of those charges are going to hit that it'll spell disaster for you usually. It is kind of buggy. You saw right there where he got, sometimes when you do a charge, if it like hits something on the ground or some terrain or something like that, it does this weird animation where you're like charging in place. And I'm not really sure what that's all about, but that could be a problem. Here, I really should have been using the knockback voice call instead of the stamina one. The stamina one I don't really think is needed. I haven't ever needed it. The extra boost you get in that knockback can really win a fight sometimes. I think we were maybe using a combo here. Yeah, I think he was using the knockback one and I was using the stam one. That could be a good way to go. I'm still kind of playing with these combos to see how it works, but stacking that knockback is pretty OP when you got two of them going, and you can knock stuff back really, really far. So the cool thing about the Pycno is it's got a lot of different tools, and you can do different setups. You could do a more stationary setup, where you can do a high-speed charge setup. So a lot of combos to use, and I think there's probably 2 or 3 different variations that'll actually work and be viable for the Pycno right now. But those are all the reasons why the Pycno is just a really good dinosaur right now to play. You know, this Packy was really interfering with this fight. Even though he wasn't like hitting us, he was putting himself in our immediate combat area, and he's like, you know, pretending to like pick sticks or whatever, but he didn't need to be down here. He was totally getting in the way and interfering, and you know, he would, you know, retaliate or he would attack for personal space, like right there, but he was coming into our combat zone. So I think technically he was rule breaking, but you know, it's whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal. But you really shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. If you see a battle going on, you really need to make space for the combat zone. You see them fighting in an area, just make space. You know, be courteous to your fellow players. It's not sportsmanlike to get involved and interfere with fights. You know, maybe you just want to see the fight or whatever, and maybe that's your friend getting attacked. But you know, you really shouldn't be interfering with somebody else's fight like that. It's just a nuisance. At the end here, I can see him kind of bouncing around in that little spot, so I got the feeling that he was stuck. So I like to be, you know, show good sportsmanship as much as possible, and if somebody's stuck, I don't want to take advantage of that, so I went ahead and gave him a little knock out of there and helped him out. And even though we're going to kill him, I still don't want to do it when he's stuck. But that's the video, guys. Second one on the Pycno. Let me know what you think. How do you guys like the Pycno? What do you think should be changed on it? Let me know in the comments below. Hope to see you out there in Gondor. Goodbye.